Shalom and welcome once again to Elders of GMS. My name is Elder Tahar. To my left is
Elder Ramlab.
And we also have the researcher, as always, Elder Gabar. Today's topic is entitled, this is going to be a goodie, all right? Because this is something that had to be done, all right? It's entitled, An In-Depth Focus on the Tribes of Israel. Because we wanted to kind of go, because a lot of you brothers, you make the signs and everything, you know, and you say, well, this is the tribe of Gad or the Indians. But how many of you really know the breakdowns? So we just had to go back, and I'm pretty sure you had watched this Nate Satan, Nathaniel 7, and Barack. What's his name? Is that his name? Barack? Not Barack. Bunyamyan of HODC 12. They had got together. That's when we were all together in the same school, and they had did a breakdown on that. And I guess some of you brothers out there and a few of you sisters out there probably saw that tape or saw that series. But we went through it again, and we found out people went off a little bit, you know. Now, we have to acknowledge that Ariah, the Spirit had worked with Ariah, had gave him the Spirit to break down these tribes. But he went off a little bit, but he hit the point the way he's supposed to hit the point. So that's why we're going to go back into it. Now, basically, when we went through these scriptures, you know, we just came up with this topic a few minutes ago, and we put the scriptures together and all that. There's no way we can do all the 12 tribes. We're just going to focus on basically 3 of the tribes. We might venture off into maybe another tribe based upon how much time we got. But we're going to focus on Judah, Gad, and Ephraim. All right? But before I do that, I just want to show a couple of videos, which I always do. Now, this dude, Farrakhan, did a big thing down there in Atlanta. And it was put up on YouTube, I guess. It was put up on a web page. And when you listen to this dude and you listen to the audience members, this guy is gone, and the people that follow him are gone. And most of them people that follow him are mostly them older jakes that faithfully follow him. You got a couple of younger ones that follow him, but he's gone. He's lost. He doesn't understand the scriptures. He doesn't know what's going on. And when you listen to him, you can see that he's been listening to us. I'll say this, he's been listening to the Israelites. Because there's never been any tape, from my knowledge, of him going into Jacob and Esau. But then when he goes into Jacob and Esau, he breaks that down the wrong way. He basically is hinting that we are Edomites. And that Jacob is a so-called white man over there, the so-called Jews. And then he even goes and says this book is, I forget the exact wording, but you'll hear it. He said this book is to trick you up. Well, you're right about that. It tricked your ass up. It ain't tricking us up. We see this thing crystal clear. All right? So I want to go right to that video clip. And let's listen to this madness. Y'all should be happy that you got the truth.
In Deuteronomy now, first, have we been here 400 years? Are we strangers in a land that is not ours?
Now he's kind of paraphrasing what Genesis, the book of Genesis, says about Abraham receiving a vision about us sojourning in the land of Egypt, and he's kind of pushing out that it's talking about America. So he didn't even understand that. All right?
Have we been afflicted in this land every day of our sojourn here? Talk to me. Could it be that we are the people of the promise? Could it be that we are the people that should be expecting the visitation of God? Could it be that after all our suffering, that relief is in sight now? So in the book of Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, the 18th verse, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, Moses. Moses was a civilizer. Moses took a man up out of the caves and made him upright.
Now there's no record of Moses taking anybody up out of no damn caves, man. So this dude is set up to confuse the masses of Israel.
Moses taught them how to cook food, how to bury their dead.
What? Yo, hey, but y'all, you know what? Before, hey, this is comical, man. This is, like I said, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame you got clowns like this teaching the scriptures. They don't even understand what the hell they're talking about. And then if you notice, the name of this event was called, I think it was called Who Are the Children of Israel? I think something to that effect. And the reason why he named, I mean, I didn't get into his brain or whatever, but the reason why I think he named it that is because that Islamic spirit is disappearing, so he has to get that congregation back, so he's using that, he's going on the Israel tip. Because everybody's waking up to the fact that they're Israel. Well, the 1/3. All right? But he still can't get it right. Why can't he get it right? Because he's not a man of the Lord. He's not a chosen of the Most High. He's not of the elect. He still pushes that Allah bullshit. All right, go ahead.
Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and
that's exactly what he's doing.
And they that are led of them are destroyed.
Right, so they're going to be destroyed, man. And you know what? They're so into that madness that you can't even get them out. It's singed in them, man. It's seared into their conscience, man. So when you try to tell them something, they don't want to hear it. So like I've been saying, and you heard me say this many a times, I said, here we are in 2010. The ones that can't get it, don't bend over backwards to try to make them get it. Just move on. Just deal with the ones that can get it. The ones that freely understand it and can see it, deal with them. Don't deal with them people that scratching their heads. We ain't dealing with scratching your head people. All right? All right, go ahead, brother. You got it? All right, go ahead.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time,
we in the latter time,
some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
And that's what, bring it back to Farrakhan, man. He's read again.
Right. It says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits.
He's giving heed to seducing spirits. Go ahead.
And doctrines of devils.
That's a doctrine of the devil because it's a lie. Go ahead.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
And that's them followers. They're gonna follow this man like he is a god, and he's gonna lead them right into destruction. All right. Let's go on with this video.
Moses lifted, as the Bible said, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be lifted up. It's all about you.
Yes, sir.
Now, the Bible says, God talking, I'm going to put my words in his mouth. And he, now look at this. Let's go to Isaac. Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord granted his plea, and Rebekah conceived. Now listen to this. She was having twins. And it says, but the children struggled together within her. Have you ever heard of anything like that in your life? You got twins and they inside struggling with each other. Now, does that make sense? And it must have a deeper significance. So let's get to the theology of it. And look what the Lord said. He said, 2 nations are in your womb. From one father, yes, sir. 2 nations. Then it said, 2 peoples shall be separated from your body, and one people will be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the Bible is so tricked up that it takes God to interpret it. Even white folks look at it sometime and say, we sure fixed it, because we can't even understand what fixed it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, it's talking about the womb, the dark womb of the testicles of the black man.
He just went off.
Inside us is two nations. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad called it the black and the brown germ. That they were struggling with each other. The black one was always dominant. So the brown germ stayed, like a negative thing inside you, but always kept in control by the positive. You say, well, the first one came out red. He was like a hairy garment all over, so they called his name Esau. And afterward, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Now, wait a minute. Are you going to take hold of the baby's heel? He was struggling. Okay. Now, the Bible says that the older will serve the younger. See, it's talking about the beginning of the white race coming out of us. And they are the younger.
He just went off. He better go. He better read that scripture, man. But this is madness. This is madness, man. This is madness. Give me that scripture in Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 14. Wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men, that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through it shall not. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies.
Right. So this guy, bring him back to Farrakhan. He gonna be swept away with the refuge of lies. You know, when you make refuge or something, when you're a refugee, you go to a place for safety. So these people are going to this guy for safety, for refuge, and they're gonna be swept away. Because this guy is too old and too damn proud to really acknowledge what the truth is. Because for him to acknowledge the truth, that would mean that he would have to denounce Allah. He would have to denounce Islam. He would have to denounce the so-called Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So there's a lot of things he has to denounce, man. But the scripture says you can't put new wine in old bottles, and how old can you get? How old of a bottle can you get than this guy? Go ahead.
And the waters shall overflow the hiding place, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand.
In other words, the ones of you that are right, the Most High is going to deal with you. All right, that's it on that. That's it on that. Now let's go back to this dude.
And they are naturally weaker, but the stronger is being subjected to the weaker. Let's go on. So Jacob was left alone, the Bible says, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. And when the man saw he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip.
Yeah,
so
he's
that
just going
his
into the
hip
blessing.
was wrenched.
But the bottom line is he totally went over those people's head, and he went over his own head. He went over his own damn head. You know? Okay. You got anything?
Yeah, then he tried to say that like Elder Tar said earlier, that we're Esau and that the so-called Jews in the land of Israel are Jacob. Damn liar, man. I got something real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered. It says, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book. Right, it says, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers and the seers hath he covered. So that's talking about Farrakhan. That's talking about all these so-called leaders among the so-called Negroes and among the so-called Latin tribes. They're all covered. They're all darkened. It says, and the book, it says, I'm sorry, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Yeah, because what Farrakhan is giving you is a precept of his own heart, of the so-called Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But they still got this nonsense, but the truth is out there. So we have many so-called Muslims, people of the Nation of Islam, and there's no such nation as a Nation of Islam, all right? Islam is a religion. That's like saying the nation, I'm of the nation of the Roman Catholics. The religion is not a nation. And they probably stumbled upon our videos or other brothers' videos out there dealing with Israel and kind of shunned what we were saying. So that, but that's on y'all. You're not a part of the elect. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I got scripture. Yeah, this is the book of Isaiah 56, 10 to 12. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that every one for his gain from his quarter. Come ye, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant.
Yeah, the bottom line is he doesn't want to give up that leadership, that power seat. All right, he doesn't want to give that up. Because if he acknowledged all that, he would have to kind of take a couple of steps down. He'd have to go way down and start all over again. All right? You got anything? Okay. Now, I want to go to this next clip dealing with, before we go into the subject, I want to go into this next clip dealing with America and the downfall of the dollar. Because we've been telling you this for the longest. We've been telling you this for the longest. You thought that Barack Obama was going to come in and change everything and make everything better. Well, he hasn't did shit. All right? Okay, here it is.
Report by the United Nations says the American dollar should be ditched as the main global reserve currency. It said that the global financial meltdown has by the dollar's loss of value in recent years. A number of states, including Russia and China, have repeatedly called for a new reserve currency system. The UN has now suggested using a basket of currencies for this purpose. London-based markets strategist Nick Parsons believes it's only a matter of months before the dollar will start to go down.
It's not going to change overnight, but we have seen it's been chipped away inexorably over the course of the last 2 decades. For the last 25 years, the dollar has been losing value. Not only has it been losing value, but we also see that international investors, those reserve managers, central banks around the world, have actually been reducing the proportion of their reserves which is held in dollars. I think the dollar is going to start going down in the second half of this year. What we've seen at over the course of the last 6 months is investors fleeing the euro on worries that that currency itself is going to be broken up, that somehow Greece, Spain, Portugal, Italy and others may be leaving the euro, and there's been a flight out of that. Now, it's not the case that everyone loves the dollar, it's simply that it's been benefiting from not being the euro. We expect that that's pretty much a temporary phenomenon. We think in the second half of this year the underlying structural weakness of the US economy will come forwards. The United States is still borrowing double-digit percentage of GDP. We've got the midterm elections in November, which we think may leave President Obama pretty much exposed. And the jobless situation just simply doesn't get better. And we think that investors' attention is going to switch onto the negative side of the dollar in the second half of this year, away from looking at the negatives for the euro, which it's done in the first half. I think we're going to move to a world which is effectively pegged to SDRs. Now, SDRs may sound very obscure and esoteric. SDRs are essentially the currency which the IMF uses. It's a composite currency, it's a basket, it's a virtual currency, if you like. It's made up of almost 60% dollars, almost 30% euros. It includes most of the major currencies in the world. And the advantage that countries have in using this as a unit of account is that it avoids these extreme fluctuations in valuation, and also it avoids the volatility that we see over time.
Okay, so I mean, we don't really have to speak on that. Pretty much he explained it, that the American dollar is finished, right? Now they mentioned something about the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Now you think in your mind that's somewhere over there, over in Europe and Germany somewhere. Do you know that the IMF is based in over here in the States in D.C.? The IRS is based in D.C. The Supreme Court is based in D.C. The so-called capital itself is based in D.C. So this world economic depression, I'll say, all goes back to America, to D.C., to United States. That's why it said that they're going to hate the whore. You hate people when you're making good money, you love somebody. When that same person takes your money away or causes you to lose money, you hate that person, and you want to shoot something on them. So it says that the 10 toes, they're gonna hate America. Matter of fact, let's get that. Revelation 17 and 12.
Revelation chapter 17 verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings.
Right, which is the same as the 10 toes in the book of Daniel. Go ahead.
Which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings.
That's talking about the European Union. Go ahead.
1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them.
Yeah, because when the Lord comes back from the heavens, they're going to try to fight against the Lord. Go ahead.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
America is known as a great melting pot. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
That fire is the missiles. Go ahead.
For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Now, how does she reign over the kings of the earth? Like I said, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Like I said, you hear that term, that grouping of words, and you think of somewhere in Germany, somewhere in Brussels, Belgium. But it's right over here in the good old USA. It's down there in D.C., the District of Columbia. And we're going to prove it. Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, this is from Wikipedia, entitled the International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, is the international organization that oversees the global financial system by following the macroeconomic policies of its member countries, in particular those with an impact on exchange rate and the balance of payments. It is an organization formed with a stated objective of stabilizing international exchange rates and facilitating development through the enforcement of liberalizing economic policies. It also offers highly leveraged loans, mainly to poor countries. Its headquarters are in Washington, D.C., United States.
That's why they're going to hate the whore. They're going to hate the United States. Because this global depression goes back to what? The IMF. They claim that they set up and help poor nations by lending them money. When they lend them money at such a high interest rate that they can't pay the money back. So what do? They forfeit their whole country. That's why you got puppet leaders all over the place. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies.
That's right. So, like they're trying to bullshit you by saying that America's going to get back on its feet, and America's going to go back to the days of old, and we're going to be the economic king all over again. We're going to be on top. It's not going to happen, man. It's going down. It's going down even further, and it's going to get worse. And that dollar, that American dollar, the U.S. dollar, which is nothing but a Federal Reserve note, which is owned by a private organization known as the Federal Reserve, that came about actually the Federal Reserve Act came about in December of 1913, and the notes were issued really in 1933, and that's when this private organization took control of this country right here. All right? All right.
Yeah, this is the book of Obadiah, the first chapter, the 7th verse. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
Yeah, so what people are doing now, man, they don't trust the United States anymore. They're trying to get, and that's the whole stimulus package, most of that money went to European nations, man, and European countries, companies, and European banks. That's why when this guy, Bernanke, was asked by, I forget who it was, one of these congressmen asked where the money went, and do you want to tell us why did it go to Europe? And he said, no, I'm not going to tell you. Well, isn't this guy Bernanke supposed to be appointed by the president? He's not supposed to do what he wants to do. But you know what? Everything is upside down. The president is really the puppet, man. You know, you say the ultimate goal in life in America is to be the president. That's bullshit, man. That's the ultimate window dressing. All the president is window dressing, man. You got to look at who's behind the scenes, who's pulling the strings. Go ahead.
Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 11. Howl ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off.
That's right. So, like I said, this so-called American dollar, which is not even an American dollar, this is it, man. And you're gonna lose more jobs. And all the unemployment benefits is running out. I personally know people that have been unemployed for about anywhere from 6 months to a year, got extensions, and now they're saying we ain't got no more money for you. Yeah.
Yeah, right now in the news, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's going to have all state employees get paid minimum wage until they pass some kind of legislation to deal with their budget.
Right. And minimum wage, I think, is $7.10. Federal minimum wage. Now, that's talking about state employees that have been working there for maybe 15, 20, 30 years, that's been making maybe $25, $30, $35 an hour. They're getting a major salary cut. So what do you think that's going to do to them people, man? They're going down from making, let's say, $25, $30 to making a little bit more than $7 an hour. And then they're going to tax that on top of it. You're going to see more riots. And we told you that situation over there in Greece, the riotings over there in Greece, well, it came to Canada. They were rioting over there. They were burning up police cars up there in Canada. But it's going to come down here. There's going to be riots in America, man, through all the states. These police officers, they're going to work for their damn paychecks, all right? Go ahead. This society's going down, and we've been telling you this, man. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves.
Yeah, because this guy going to start trembling, man. Barack Obama, and basically they put him up there as a major scapegoat. So when they put the blame on somebody, they're gonna blame it on the black guy. Didn't you see that movie? What was the name of the movie with Richard Pryor? I think it's called Moving. The name of the movie, and they had moved them from from what state to another state out in the Midwest, and they moved him to Utah, and they gave him a high up office, and then the media came in and they asked him all these questions. What did you do with the money? And then he picked up a pencil. He said, I sharpened pencils, because they set his ass up. But in the movie, I think he brought the company back to life. But unlike that movie, Barack Obama, he's not going to bring this company back to life. He's going to no more bond, like the brother said. He's going to be the scapegoat. All right, they're going to be looking to get rid of him and Michelle. Go ahead.
It says, and the grinders cease because they are few.
Yeah, the grinders are the workforce. People that wouldn't take a job for $15. I ain't taking no job for $15 an hour. I'm worth more than that. Now you're begging for a motherfucking minimum wage job. You're going to start catching. It's going to get worse. Go ahead.
And those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low.
Yeah, unemployment. Go ahead.
And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low.
And this music that you hear today is not even music, man. It's crap. All right? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the book of Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it.
Yeah, so like I said, you're not gonna come back to your greatness. You're not gonna come back to the good old days. Matter of fact, you better get ready for mass race riots and mass class riots in this country, just like you see over there in Greece, just like you saw a couple of weeks ago up there in I believe it was Toronto, Canada, where they had the G8 and the G20 meetings. And when they had the meetings, they had spent over $1 billion for security to pay them cops off, the riot police, and so forth. It's going to get bad out here. All right? You got something? All right, go ahead.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Verse 12. 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard the kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Right. Their kings and their princes is talking about their leaders, man. They're going to be looking to hang the mayor, the chief of police, the sheriff, the governors, the senators. They're going to be looking to burn down their capitals, man. That's why, if you saw, we did a program maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and we showed clips of over there in Greece, and they had went to Athens, Greece, to the Capitol building. That's a big, tremendous white building, and they had riot police guard that because the people were ready to go up in there and burn that damn place down and try to get the prime minister and the president and hang their ass, man, or beat the shit out of them. So, like I said, you other Israelite groups, guys like Nate Satan and Barak Shah, talking about get a college degree and become a doctor, and you said that a couple of years ago. You wasn't thinking about the end of the world because 3 years ago nothing was really happening. And we've been steady telling you when we did our first show on YouTube, actually exactly 3 years ago, because it was July. I think it was like the second or the third week of July that we had put our first show on YouTube. All right, in 2007 of the month of July. And when we went out there from day one, from video one, we cursed these people out. That's why so many brothers out there and sisters had came to our sites, man. That's why on the honors it said 50 subscription, number 50, number 49, number one video today, number one video for the week. Directors this, directors that. And they had to stop all that shit, man. That's why after about a good year, not even a year, good maybe 9 months, we were having a Passover, and we went on the site. It was called Great Millstone, I believe, and the thing was suspended. So we opened up a series of sites, and it stayed on for a couple of months here, then it was cut off. Then we opened up like 5 and 6 sites at the same time. Then there was a point where they just said, you know, it was an all-out war against GMS, Well, we would put up a site, and an hour later, the thing would be cut down. So they couldn't say the content wasn't right because we didn't even put up a video yet. So that was some secret cabal who had in their mind to get rid of us. But we're still up on there on YouTube. We're on Daily Motion, and we're on the main site right now, which is GMS Tube. So we're pushing this word, all right? Now, there's other people out there, like Alex, such as Alex Jones and other Mox News, a guy at Mox News now. They're trying to get rid of this guy. Now, you know what this guy does? This is the first time he showed his face. He said he got about 6 DVRs playing 24 hours a day on the news stations. That's why he said, where did he get that? How did he catch that news? Because he leaves the DVRs on the different major news, on CNN, on Fox News, on C-SPAN. There's 3 C-SPANs. So he's got 6 DVRs playing on 6 different news channels day and night, and whatever's good, he puts it up on YouTube. So now they're trying to get rid of him. So that's why this guy, what's his name, Joe Lieberman, Leave It to Beaver Lieberman, he wants to, a so-called Jew, he wants to do away with the whole, he wants to control the internet now. I'm going to go right to the, see if I can find the video.
Yeah, Jay Rockefeller's another one. He was trying to shut down the internet. And this happened maybe back about 2 or 3 months ago, or towards the beginning of the year. They had that cyber shockwave, I believe it was called, where they were saying, well, what if there was a terrorist attack on the internet and they shut everything down? So they were like playing, it was a scenario that they were playing out, you know, because that's what they planned to do. But now it's coming to fruition, so to speak.
That's right. Now let me play this right quick.
State of the Union with Candy Crowley, CNN Sunday Morning, 9 Eastern.
You have an internet bill. It's been called the kill switch bill that would allow the president to seize control or shut down portions of the internet if the U.S. was under some sort of cyber attack. I don't know if you've seen the internet lately. There's a lot of people out there who think that what you are granting the president is absolute power to shut down freedom of speech. I mean, this is just over the top.
No way, and total misinformation.
Hold on, how you gonna wait a minute? How you gonna pass a bill and to have the president have power to shut down the internet, but then you're gonna say no, we're not gonna do it? Why would you pass it? Why would you present that bill in the first motherfucking place? And then you wonder why we curse. Let me bring it back a little bit. There's, like I said, there's gonna be riots in the street, man. There's gonna be riots in the street. You saw what happened in Toronto, man. And everybody's waking up to the New World Order. The hell is this fucking devil, man? You stopping the damn machine. Satan is a mother. He's going to present a bill to call a kill switch bill.
Seen the internet lately.
But they're saying no,
there's
we're
a
not
lot of
going to use
people
it.
out there who think that what you are granting the president is absolute power to shut down freedom of speech. I mean, this is just over the top.
No way, and total misinformation. I don't know whether people are intentionally peddling the misinformation. Here's the fact. Cyber war is going on in some sense right now. Our civilian infrastructure, the internet that runs the electric grid, the telecommunications grid, transportation, all the rest is constantly being probed by nation states, by some terrorist groups, by organized criminal gangs. And we need this capacity in time of war. We need the capacity for the president to say, internet service provider, we've got to disconnect the American internet from all traffic coming in from another foreign country, or we've got to put a patch on this part of it. The president will never take over, the government should never take over the internet. And listen, we've consulted, Senator Collins and I are proposing this bill with civil liberties and privacy experts. This is a matter of national security. A cyber attack on America can do as much or more damage today by incapacitating our banks, our communications, our finance, our transportation as a conventional war attack. And the president, in catastrophic cases, not going to do it every day, not going to take it over. So I say to my friends on the internet, relax.
Well, they can
take a look
create
at the bill.
that catastrophic situation. They could create it, just like they created the 9/11. You know.
And this is something that we need to protect our country. Right now, China, the government, can disconnect parts of its internet in the case of war. We need to have that here too.
Hold on. Why would you compare China, a communist country, to what's this bill, this kill switch bill? You're going to say, well, basically in a roundabout way, you're saying, well, China's doing it. Why can't? Well, China's a communist country. That's why you say you make that mantra, I'm proud to be an American, because at least I'm not like the damn Chinese, which are communists. So basically you're using a communist country to say, well, they're doing it, so why not us? And like I said, man, this thing is coming to an end. This thing is coming to an end. Speak for a minute.
Right, and then the reason why they're trying to shut the internet down, the main reason why they're trying to shut it down is because the truth is coming out. Now, we're bringing out the truth. We're bringing out the ultimate truth. But then you have these other so-called patriots out there that are bringing out information, you know, by the ton, you know, different news stations. Because when you watch the internet and when you go on these different sites, you'll see things there that you're not going to see on television. You know, so that's why they want to shut it down, because the information is coming out and their plans are being foiled in certain things that they want to do because all this information is coming out.
Yeah, when you watch Fox News and you watch CNN, and these news programs are for the most part fluff. It's not real news, man. They're talking about this big sex scandal with Gore that happened 4 years ago. Ain't nobody want to hear that shit, you know? But anyway, we're going to go into the topic now. We just wanted to cover those points. We're going to deal with the tribes. But before I go into that, where's that paper that I had? I had this paper. Here, speak. Let me get it. It's right here.
Right. So that's the bottom line. So right now, we're just going to, like the Elder Tar said, we're going to get into this lesson on the tribes, because there's a lot of lies out there of who the 12 tribes are, and the Lord has set us up to set this thing straight. All right, and that's what we do.
That's right. That's what we do. It said this is entitled, "Where do the lost 10 tribes of Israel live today?" Right. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go down to the last paragraph, National Israel Today. The following is a list of tribes of Israel and their possible national identities today. Although this information is based on historical and linguistic evidence, not all of the 12 tribes of Israel can be identified with absolute certainty. But this is, and then, they even got, hold up, they even got the scriptures, Genesis 49. Oh, these are devils, man. Well, I'm gonna go down. It said tribe of Israel, possible identity, Bible reference. The first one is Asher. Now, according to them, Asher are supposed to be the Republic of South Africa. All right? Benjamin are the people of Norway. Dan, and Dan, we got to cover Dan because there's some madness even on our side of guys saying, well, you know, the Danites, you know, they're the Carib Indians, and they're the people of Ireland, and they're the Vikings, and what's another one? This dude Karash, he said that they were the Gypsies. They're going off. There's no information on Dan. We'll find out who Dan is when we get in the kingdom. So anybody that's teaching that madness, you got demons on you, all right? And you don't know the scriptures. Gad, listen to this. Germany. Issachar, Finland. So I guess the people of Finland like to work a lot, right? Joseph or Ephraim, Britain and the United Kingdom. Come on, man. Joseph, Manasseh, United States of America. So basically they're saying all the white people, the American white man are really of the tribe of Manasseh. Yeah, they're Mormons with that madness. And we're gonna get them too. We're gonna invade their houses of worship. All right. Judah, primarily nation of Israel Jews, but also scattered among other nations descended from Israel. Levi, the same thing, scattered among Israel. Naphtali, the people of Sweden. The Hinga from Sweden. She's Naphtali. Reuben, France. Simeon, scattered among other nations descended from Israel. Zebulun, Holland. All right? All right, I guess we got it wrong, right? That's why they don't say nothing about us, man. We're all over the place. We're not on the news. We're not on any TV shows. Oprah is not going to invite us. Don't look for Oprah to invite you on her show because you ain't going. Because if we go on Oprah's show, Oprah going to lose everything, man. She going to go back to being a poor black bitch, all right? It says, although there have been many books written concerning who the 10 tribes of Israel are and where they are located today, we suggest the following books as a good beginning point for any detailed study into this subject. Okay, let me name some of these books. Judah's Scepter and Joseph's Birthright by J.H. Allen. King Solomon's Temple, a study of its symbolism by E. Raymond Capt. Jacob's Pillar, a biblical historical study by E. Jacob Capt. All right? And I bet you if you put some of these names in there, I bet you they're crackers, man. The Lost 10 Tribes of Israel, found by Stephen M. Collins, published by CPA Books. Lost Israelite Identity, Hebrew Ancestry of Celtic Races by Yer Davidi, published by Russell Davis Publishers. Shiloh, Hebron, Susia, Jerusalem, Bethel, Israel. And that's it. But that's their take on where the tribes of Israel are located today. All right? Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 19. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit.
And that's Esau. And Esau's mind ain't woken up to this, man. He don't know what the hell's going on. Like I said, that's why they don't put us on no shows, and we're all over the place, man. We're all over the internet. That's the main reason why they want to shut the internet down. Because the truth is coming out, man. Our people is waking up to the fact of who they are. Okay? Now let's go right into it. The first tribe I want to go into, and like I said, we put the scriptures together, and we said there's no way we can cover all these tribes. It'll take too much time, so we're gonna definitely come back. This is gonna be a series, all right? And I had some books on order. You got some books with you now that I'd like to focus on on the next show. But we're gonna go into the tribe of Judah. All right. The first scripture I want you to get, brother, is the book of Genesis, the 49th chapter, the first 2 verses, and then immediately go to Hebrews 1:1.
This is the book of Genesis. Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
Now let's understand one thing. The last days actually started 2,000 years ago. So you got idiots out there talking about, well, you don't know, man. You don't know if this could be the end of the world in the last days. It could be another 200. The last days started 2,000 years ago. So we're at the very end of that. You jerk off. Read the book of Matthew's, the 24th chapter. Go ahead.
It says, gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Hebrews 1:1. The Most High, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath indeed...
Any time the Lord would do something, he would set up his prophets. He wouldn't come down to tell the Babylonian Empire they're going down. The Lord didn't come down and before Pharaoh and said, look, let my people go. He had his mouthpieces do that, which are the prophets. Namely, Moses, David was a prophet, Daniel was a prophet, Jeremiah a prophet, Isaiah a prophet, and all these different prophets. There's many prophets. And the Most High always sent prophets before a society went down. So what make you think the Lord going to have a different setup of this man going down? The reason why you see us, we're the prophets of the Lord, prophesying against this place, because this place is going down. Like I said, the Most High always sent his prophets before society goes down. All right, go ahead.
1 Corinthians 4:9. For I think that the Most High has set forth us, the apostles, last.
Yeah, that's why Farrakhan can't get it. That's why he said this book will trick you up. No, it'll trick him up, because he doesn't understand it, because he's not of the elect, and he's not a prophet. Go ahead.
Hebrews 1:1. The Most High, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son.
So hold up. In these last days have what?
Have spoken unto us by his Son.
By his Son. So when was his Son on the earth? Over 2,000 years ago. Go ahead.
Whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds.
Yeah, so that's plain. So that's telling you right there that the last days is not necessarily talking about right now, but the last days started 2,000 years ago. All right? Now let's jump to the 8th verse.
Genesis 49 verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be...
That's why the king of Israel came out of the tribe of Judah. The king of Israel is King David. King David was Moses, because Moses, at that time, he was a Levite. He was, matter of fact, go to that, Deuteronomy 33 and I believe it's the 5th verse. Either the 3rd verse or the 5th verse. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 4. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. Verse 5. And he was king in Jeshurun, when the heads of the people and tribes of Israel were gathered together.
Now when you look in the Hebrew, the word there is malak. That's the Hebrew word for king. So who was really the king? Was there a king already established? Yeah, but they didn't put a crown on his head. But he was a king. But in the reincarnation, when he came back as David, that's when he sat up there as being a king. All right? You got give me Deuteronomy. You got to get Deuteronomy, brother. Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Read that again.
It says, the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
So that king was Moses, which was David. All right? And we're going to establish and we're going to set up a king on this side. We're going to set up a leader on this side. That's in the book of Hosea. All right? So now let's go back to Genesis, the 49th chapter, and the 8th verse.
Genesis 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
Now we got to go to the blue letter for that. Because Ariel had taught that he had slightly went off. He had taught the neck of thy enemies is talking about, you know, in Esau society, you got the heads, which is Esau. We ain't on the level of the heads. We can become maybe a governor, maybe a mayor, but we can't really become a president because Barack Obama is not our people. He's a Hamite. But that's not talking about that. The neck part is hand, and the neck is talking about we're going to go at them with our hands open to choke them to death. That's what that's talking about. As you go into the Hebrew, you're going to see it.
Yeah, we're in the Blue Letter Bible. We're in the book of Genesis 49:8. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Now we're going to look up the word hand. I'm going to click on it. Now the Hebrew word for hand is yad. Yad, which means strength, power. All right? Yeah, pretty much strength, power. Now, I'm going to go back to thine enemies. We're going to look that up. The Hebrew word there is ayab. Ayab, which means enemy, personal, national. To be an adversary to anyone. To persecute him as an enemy, to hate. All right. The original idea, I believe, to be that of breathing, blowing, puffing, an idea often applied to anger and hatred. Now I'm going to go back to neck, right? Yeah. The word there for neck is irap, which means neck, back of the neck, back of the neck, of fleeing foe, of apostasy, stiff of neck, obstinate. Let's see what they say here. They give an example here, Exodus 23 and 27. Okay, I'll just read it. It says, I have made for thee the back of all thine enemies. I have made them turn their backs. I have put them to flight.
So basically, when you go back to Genesis, the 49th chapter and the 8th verse, it's basically saying that your hand, your power, your strength is going to be to get at that devil. And it mentions the word apostasy, right? You read apostasy, and apostasy is something outside of the truth. Okay? Now you got the scripture in Exodus? All right, go ahead.
Exodus 23 verse 27. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And the precept for backs is necks.
Right, right. In other words, when you turn your back, you're running from them, because the Most High is going to give us that power. All right. Now go from there to the book of Psalms, the 18th chapter, the 40th and the 41st verse. Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 18 verse 40. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord. But
they cried. Esau's going to cry on that day, but there's not going to be none to save them. They can't call 911. Go ahead.
They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not.
Hold up. That cuts them guys that's talking about Esau could be saved. Because some of these crackers, some of these Edomites are going to actually be calling on the name. Now remember them guys saying, Yahusha. And we're going to still kick their ass. Go ahead, read it again.
It says, Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, and that I might destroy them that hate me.
The necks of your enemies, number one on the list is Edom. That's number one on the list. Go ahead.
Then did I beat them small as the...
Oh, read it again from the top.
Sorry. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that...
Isn't that the prophecy of Judah? That thy hand shall be in the necks of thy enemies. What it means? We're going to co-destroy them. Go ahead.
Destroy them that hate me. They cried, but they...
And they hate us. They don't love us. Go ahead.
They cried.
Go in a nice, affluent, if you can find one, all right? Go in a nice, affluent Edomite neighborhood and walk around 3 in the damn morning and see what's going to happen to your ass. Go ahead.
It says they cried.
Get you a damn pretty-ass white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes and go someplace where a lot of white people are. They'll lynch your ass, man. Or at least they'll give you a dirty damn look. So these people don't love you. Go ahead.
They cried, but there was none to save them.
That's what I like. They cried, but there was none to save them. So when the Most High put that spirit on us to get at these Edomites, they're going to cry. But nobody's going to save them. Go ahead.
Even unto the Lord.
Even unto the Lord. When they call upon the name of the Lord, give me all that and give me the book of Romans, the 10th chapter, and start at the 12th verse. Because you got these idiots out here that they come across the word Greek. Yeah, that's talking about the white man. So let's see if the Most High is telling the truth, or is the Most High a great contradictor of himself. Go ahead.
Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek.
Hold on, let's assume that the Greeks are white people. Go ahead.
For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
Hold up, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Read that again.
For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
The same Lord read again, I can't even think straight.
For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek.
We're assuming that the Jew is talking about the Jews, all right? Maybe it's talking about these people in that article, the American people and all that. Go ahead.
It says, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
Okay, so you got the open door at any time to call upon the Lord, and the Lord will deliver you, right? Go ahead.
For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Okay, wait a minute now. Let's go back to where we left off. Go ahead.
Psalms 18 and 41. They cried, but there was none to save them. Even unto the Lord.
Even unto the Lord. So they're going to call on the name of the Lord, right? Read that again.
They cried, but there was none to save them. Even unto the Lord, but he answered them not.
Wait a minute. Did not the Lord said he'll listen to anybody that calls on his name? Rich and poor? Jew or Greek? Ain't the Greeks supposed to be Edomites? Huh? What's going on here, man? Is this book, is this a typographical error over here? Well, that's why Farrakhan said what he said. This book will trip you up. It ain't tripping us up. It's tripping you devils up, man. Read that again.
It said, they cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. Thou hast delivered me from the strivings of the people, and thou hast made me the head of the heathen.
And thou hast made me the head of the heathen. The heathen mean all heathen. So there's not one heathen going to make it. All right, not one heathen's going to make it. Okay? All right, go ahead.
A people whom I have not known shall serve me.
Now go to Jeremiah 30 and 16. So you got clowns like Bubble-Eyed Blackfish, clowns like False Prophet 666. You got clowns like Uncle Ruckus, and you got other clowns out there, right? They don't understand the scriptures. They get tricked. And you got other clowns out there, right? They don't understand the scriptures. They get tricked up in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity.
So now one of them is going to be saved.
And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey.
So that's payback, man. Now, are we finished with Psalms? We finished with that? Now let's go to Isaiah, the 11th chapter, and the 14th verse. Isaiah, the 11th chapter, and the 14th verse.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together.
This is what all Israel, Judah, and the rest of the tribes is going to do when they all come together. Because you read it up above that, it talks about Judah and Ephraim coming together. So when Judah and Ephraim come together, that means all the tribes are going to come together. And when they come together, they're going to do work on these other nations. Go ahead.
It says, they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab.
Okay. Yeah, we just had a little technical difficulty. Satan was getting mad. So they tried to shut the whole thing down. But we're back up and running. All right. I thought Joe Lieberman hit that kill switch, you know? Damn devil. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east.
Aren't we over here in the west? Go ahead. When you get a chance, go to Baruch. Go ahead.
Okay. It says, towards the west, they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
That's right. The children of Moab shall obey them. Hold up, brother. I got it right here. Speak for me.
Right. So the point that we bringing out here in Isaiah, the 11th chapter and the 14th verse, it says they shall lay their hand upon Edom. And the Elder Torah is breaking down that in Genesis the 49th chapter, when it says that thine hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, that's literally talking about us getting our hands around the necks of Esau. All right? Because that's the time that we're coming to. All right? Because the so-called Negroes, the West Indians and Puerto Ricans, they're tired of the so-called white man. You know, and basically the so-called American public is tired of these cops and all that.
Got it right there for you. All right. Yep. Go ahead.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 5, verse 5. It says, Arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about toward the east, and behold thy children gathered from the west unto the east.
Right, so we're going to jack them up on this side. Okay? Because read it again.
It says, Isaiah, I'm sorry. Isaiah 11 and 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
Let's go back to
Baruch, chapter 5, verse 5. Arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about toward the east, and behold, thy children gathered from the west unto the east by the word of the Holy One.
So we're going to be kicking them in the ass on this side of the world, and we're going to finish kicking them in the ass on the other side of the world when we get to our homeland, because we're going to have them in slavery. Go ahead.
It says, rejoicing in the remembrance of the Most High.
Rejoicing in the remembrance of the Most High. Go ahead.
For they departed from thee on foot, and were led away of their enemies. But the Most High bringeth them unto thee, exalted with glory, as children of the kingdom. For the Most High hath appointed that every high hill and the banks of long continuance should be cast down, and the valleys filled up, to make even the ground, that Israel may go safely in the glory of the Most High. Moreover, even the woods and every sweet-smelling tree shall overshadow Israel by the commandment of the Most High, for the Most High shall lead Israel with joy in the light of his glory, with the mercy and righteousness that cometh from him.
That's right. So that's our kingdom, man. That's why these devils, they want to be us so bad, because they know the future kingdom is coming to us. So they figure, well, you know what, if we can blind the true people of Israel and say that we are the people of Israel, maybe we can trick the Most High, and he might think that we the people of Israel. Well, you can't trick the Most High. The Most High created you, you dumb idiot. All right, go ahead.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 1. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Now, let's go back to the 8th verse of Genesis, the 49th chapter.
Genesis 49 verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
Yeah, because the prey is this so-called white man, this Edomite man. So they went away from the prey, trying to be friendly with him, trying to make it where, oh, you can get right with the Lord too. So the Lord is saying, who's going to rouse you up? Who's going to rouse you up? The Most High. The Spirit of the Most High going to rise you up.
Go ahead. Psalms chapter 60 verse 9. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Will not thou, O Most High, which hadst cast us off, and thou, O Most High, which didst not go out with our armies? Give us help in trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through the Most High we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies.
Yeah, and our number one enemy, like I said, is Esau, the Edomites. So we'll finish that in Genesis 49 on Judah, right? Is there more on that? Go ahead.
It's verse 10, Genesis 49 and 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him.
You notice it said scepter, right? Nor a lawgiver from between his feet, because what is a king? After Saul was king, the next king in line, which was a real king, the intended king, was King David, and his son, and his son, and his son's son down the line. All right. Then there was a point of history where the kingdom was split into two separate kingdoms, but Judah still had their kingship, man. And then Yahushua came on the scene 2,000 years ago, and he was the king. Because that's why Herod wanted them babies to be put to death. That's great slaughter, because he knew, according to prophecy, that the king was going to come. And the king did come into the town when the people said Hosanna, which was Hawashai Nawa, which means deliver us. And they threw palms before him, and he came lowly on an ass. Well, that was a fulfillment of prophecy that they didn't want him to fulfill. All right? Go ahead.
And unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine.
Like you used to have a thing years ago when you call a black man that was drunk a wino, all right? Because Jake likes wine in the ancient world and even in this world, man. Go ahead.
His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk.
Right, so that's it on that. Now let's go from there to Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, and the 7th verse.
Deuteronomy
33, verse 7.
Deuteronomy 33 and 7. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies.
Right. Read that again.
It says, And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hand...
Right. Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Because this truth got published through Judah. Gariah is a Judite, Marshar a Judite, Yaquab a Judite, Abba a Judite. So this thing got published through the tribe of Judah. Read it again.
It says, And this is the blessing be sufficient for him.
Let his hands, his power be sufficient for him. Go ahead.
And be thou an help to him from his enemies.
And be thou a help to him from his enemies. Who is his enemies? Esau. So the Most High is going to give us the power. In other words, when we go to take down this man, the Most High is going to give us the power to destroy this man. Even through spiritual power. All right? Matter of fact, give me Micah. Micah 5 and 7. See, Judah's going to be the tribe that's going to get this thing popping. And when it says Judah, in the biggest sense, it's talking about Benjamin and Levi, because it's talking about the kingdom of Judah. And it tells you, and we read in Isaiah, the 11th chapter, how Ephraim and Judah are going to get together. So Ephraim was the head of the other so-called, what we call the Latin tribes. So when they come together, the whole nation going to come together. But it's going to start with Judah. Go ahead.
Micah chapter 5 verse 7, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver.
Right. Read that part again.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver.
Now, let's go back to Deuteronomy 33 and 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 7. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies.
So basically, in a nutshell, when you go back to Micah, that's the breakdown. It gets more in depth, okay? More graphic. Now let's go back to Genesis 49 and 8 again. All right, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemy.
That's Micah, the 5th chapter and the 7th verse all over again. Read it again.
It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
He going to rouse up the old lion. The Most High going to do it. And let's go back to Micah 5 and 7. And when he rouses him up, this is what he's going to do. Go ahead.
Micah 5 and 7. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass, that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among...
As a lion. So that refers to Judah. Judah first. Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Didn't it mention him as being the lion in Genesis the 49th chapter? Didn't it say that from the prey, my son, thou have gone up, who shall rouse thee up? The Lord's going to, the Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to rouse you up, and when he rouses you up, this prophecy is going to take place. When this happens in Micah 5 and 7, that's the part of who shall rouse, he is the old lion, who shall rouse him up. Go ahead.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people.
See, we ain't going to sit down and negotiate with them. We just going to fuck them up. All right? I did this, man. I done been so mad at somebody or the shit building up that one day I was sitting, hanging out with somebody, and all of a sudden I just dived on a nigga and beat the shit out of him, man. You know? And I know cats that I came up did that, man. All right, there's one cat. They were playing cards with this other cat, and we was in a damn abandoned building when we were kids, all right? And there was a damn candle lit, right? Because there was no light. So this dude tried to bring another card out, and the one dude flipped over the table and knocked over the damn candle and beat the other dude's ass, man. I said, you gonna burn this goddamn place down. But that's how Jake is, you know? And that's what we're going to be on Esau, man. We're just going to lose it, man. One day you're going to say, hi, Mrs. Crocker, and the next day you're going to be beating the fuck out of her and her fucking husband and her kids. It's going to happen just like that. Go ahead.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep. who if he go through both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hands.
There it goes again, and none can deliver. Because didn't it say, was that Deuteronomy 33:7, where Esau going to try to call on the name of the Lord? I'm sorry, Psalms 18, right? Psalms 18 and 41. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 18. Oh man, Psalms chapter 8. Here we go. Psalms 18 and 40. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not.
Now let's go back to Micah, right to the point.
Micah chapter 5, verse 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hand...
because they're going to be calling on the Lord. They're going to be trying to call on the name of the Most High, and they're not going to be delivered. The Most High is not going to hear them. Go ahead.
It says, thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds, and I will cut off witchcraft out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers.
Yeah, because you Edomites, you don't believe in the Most High. You believe in the spiritual demon Satan. That's why you make these movies. You got that series, the Twilight series. Now you got part 3 that just came out called Eclipse. And then you got Harry Potter. And what other, and your cartoons, your kiddie shows is all about witchcraft and shit. So Charmed and all that. Everything about you is on the left-hand side of Satan. Your God is Satan. Go back to your God, man. Deal with your God. Stop pretending like you're getting close to the Lord. Your side is the side of this damn spiritual demon Satan. That's spoken of in Genesis the 4th chapter, man, about Cain. Go ahead.
Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hands. And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee.
That's your false-ass churches with your cracker images all in it. Go ahead.
So will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard.
Yeah, you Edomites got jacked up in many different eras of history, but this is going to be the worst ass whooping you're going to get in history, man. Now, this brother Yohanabar, he's so in the spirit sometimes that on his job, he even, and his Edomites that work on his job, he even showed them videos on YouTube of us and him. So they already know about him. The Edomites that I'm around, man, they know about us, man. They done seen us on YouTube. They done seen us speaking and all that. They already know about us, man. But they ain't really doing nothing. You know why? Because they know in the back of their brains that they got an ass whipping coming to them. All right? All right, go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 9, verse 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrows shall go forth as the lightning. And the Lord power shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south. The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones. And they shall drink and make a noise as through wine. And they shall be filled like the bowls and as the corners of the altar. And the Lord their power shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for they shall be as the stones of
as the flock of his people. So how in the hell you going to get an Edomite out of that? How you going to get a Moabite out of that? How you going to get a Hamite out of that? Barack Obama's not going to make it with us. Masasha and Leah is not going to make it with us. They're going to have to die on this side, man. And Michelle, she ain't going to make it because she done sold out, man. She done laid with a damn Hamite. And she's part of this damn New World Order system anyway, so she ain't going to make it. Go ahead.
For they shall be as the stones of a crown lifted up as an...
That's them ships, them so-called UFOs. Go ahead.
Lifted up as an ensign upon his land. For how great is his goodness, and how great is his beauty. Corn shall make the young men cheerful, and new wine the maids.
Now, we're going to go to Gad right quick. And we're not going to have time to get into Ephraim, because Ephraim is there's a lot to Ephraim, right? Let's go to Gad, which is Genesis, the 49th chapter, the 19th verse. And then we're going to go immediately to Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, and the 20th verse. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right. Now, when Gad was born to Leah, there was a troop coming, marching through. So you had a thing, and Gabar always uses this term, omen nomen. You name your child after a certain event. So she saw this troop go by, and she said, that there goes, behold, there goes a troop, and I'm going to name my son Troop. There was a double meaning to that, because what happened to this to Gad? A troop actually took them over in the last days, which was the birth of this nation, the North American Cavalry. All right? And you got the documents over there.
This devil Andrew Jackson, he signed what was called the Indian Removal Act of 1830. It says here the 21st Congress, first session, and this was in Ohio. It said Memorial of the Ladies of Steubenville, Ohio. It says against the forcible removal of the Indians without the limits of the United States, February 15, 1830. It says, ordered that it lie one day upon the table. The Senate, the House of Representatives of the United States. And this is what it says here.
So it was the United States. It wasn't no wayward Edomite that got together with a lynch mob to take down Gad. It was this country that took down Gad. So you can't call this society a great society, you know, having President's Day and all that, and then you got a statue down in Jacksonville, Florida, of this guy Andrew Jackson, which he was a president. So the so-called greatness of this man's society, we shouldn't celebrate that, because we were brought down by his greatness. He became great through us being brought down, and that not just us, not just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but Gad and the rest of the tribes. Go ahead.
This is from an article called People and Events, Indian Removal from 1814 to 1830. If I got that right, it's kind of scratched out, but no, okay. It says, early in the 19th century, while the rapidly growing United States expanded into the lower South, white settlers faced what they considered an obstacle. This area was home to the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations. Excuse me. These Indian nations, in the view of the settlers and many other white Americans, were standing in the way of progress. Eager for land to raise cotton, the settlers pressured the lower South. White settlers faced what they considered an obstacle. This area was home to the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations. Excuse me. These Indian nations, in the view of the settlers and many other white Americans, were standing in the way of progress. Eager for land to raise cotton, the settlers pressured the federal government to acquire Indian territory. Andrew Jackson from Tennessee was a forceful proponent of Indian removal. In 1814, he commanded the U.S. military forces that defeated a faction of the Creek nation. In their defeat, the Creeks lost 22 million acres of land in southern Georgia and central Alabama. The U.S. acquired more land in 1818 when spurred in part by the motivation to punish the Seminoles for their practices of harboring fugitive slaves. Jackson's troops invaded Spanish Florida. From 1814 to 1824, Jackson was instrumental in negotiating 9 out of 11 treaties which divested the southern tribes of their eastern lands. In exchange for lands in the west, the tribes agreed to the treaties for the strategic reasons. They wanted to appease the government in the hopes of retaining some of their land, and they wanted to protect themselves from white harassment. As a result of the treaties, the United States gained control over 3/4 of Alabama and Florida, as well as parts of Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, and North Carolina. This was a period of voluntary Indian migration. However, only a small number of Creeks, Cherokee, and Choctaw actually moved to the new lands.
You got something else?
Yeah, this was a poster as Indian land for sale. Get a home of your own, easy payments, perfect title, possession within 30 days. Find lands in the west, irrigated, irrigable, grazing, agricultural, dry farming. And then it says Colorado, Idaho, Kansas, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Dakota, Washington, Wisconsin, Wyoming. These are all the places they took over. For the year 1911, it is estimated that 350,000 acres will be offered for sale. It wasn't yours to sell in the first place. You took it. Scripture says you should not remove the ancient land.
But then they'll get mad. They'll get mad at the fact that we're speaking about them. You know? That's why when you go down, you're going to go down hard, man, and you're going to go down fast. Is there more to that? All right, go ahead.
It says, for information as to the character of the land, write for booklet, Indian lands for sale, to the superintendent, U.S.
So they don't hide it. They'll say Indian lands. They're acknowledging you that they're the land of the Indian, but it's for sale. But it wasn't Gad that was selling the land. It was these Edomites. They said, don't worry. You buy the land. If they give you any trouble, we'll send the troops in and we'll destroy them. And that's exactly what you did. Go ahead.
It says, advertisement for the government sale of allotted Indian land. Such practices led to the drastic reduction of Indian-owned, I believe it says lands. It got cut off there.
Okay, so now let's go back to Genesis where we left off.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
So we just read, if they had trouble in obtaining them lands, they had the North American cavalry, which was that great troop that destroyed them. All right, go ahead.
It says, but he shall overcome at the last.
So don't you have Gadites? They got casinos all over the place, man. Now they can lend money. They had this one Gadite on a TV commercial talking about if you need money, you can come to me and I'll lend you some money. So now, but the real way they're going to take over is on a physical level, just like Judah. Going back to Micah 5 and 7, because Micah 5 and 7 on down is talking about all the tribes. We're going to have to get physical on you, man. All right, go
ahead. Genesis 49 and 19 again. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Now Deuteronomy 33 and 20.
Deuteronomy 33 verse 20. And of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion.
Right, it said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. How is Gad enlarged? Do you look at the land of America? That's a big stretch of land. That's 2,000 miles by 3,000 miles. That's a lot of land. Then then you have Canada. So you're going beyond 3,000 miles. Because Canada is just about as big as America, or maybe bigger. Go ahead.
It says, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself.
Teareth the arm, meaning the blood brother ritual, which they actually did. And the crown of the head was that headdress that they wore, the beautiful headdress that they wore. All right? Now, I got a clip right here of Gad. Let me go to that. All right, go to that, brother.
Final list,
Jerry Cleveland. Jerry Cleveland. And that guy. The snag just would not let him go here tonight. Jerry, come this way, young man.
Look at the crown of the head. Look at how graded they are. And you get a good look, you see the fringes on them. Right, the faces as lion. Look at their faces, the faces as lions, all right? Hey, the scripture said we are peculiar people, man. All right, go ahead, I read on.
It says, and of Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad, he dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there, in a portion of the lawgiver, was he seated, and he came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord and his judgments with Israel.
Yeah, because he was a great warrior. Out of the tribes, the three tribes of Israel, which was Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, they were the warriors. They went out to battle. They were on the front line in the battle, fighting that war. Now let's go from there to the book of 1 Chronicles, the 5th chapter, the 18th verse.
1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh, of valiant men, men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with bow, and skillful in war, were 440,703 score that went out to the war.
Now go jump to 1 Chronicles 12 and 8.
First Chronicles chapter 12, verse 8. And of the Gadites, there separated themselves unto David into the whole to the wilderness men of might and men of war, fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and were as swift as a rose upon the mountain.
Right, because there's a book, I believe it's in the history of the American Indian, but there's other books where they said that Gad would run. They can run 300 miles. They can put water in their mouth, not spit it out, and run 300 miles straight. Now, we had said on the last show about lacrosse. Lacrosse was a game that Gad played, and what happened was when they would play the field from one goal to the other, it could be anywhere from 4 to 5 miles, but I found out it could be 15 miles. 15 miles from one goal to the other. And that's a lot of miles, so you had to be in tip-top shape to do that, man. Right, go ahead.
Verse 37, it says, and on the other side of Jordan, of the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, with all manner of instruments of war for the battle, 120,000.
That's right. So it's telling you that they're known for the, like I said, they were the warriors of Israel. They were the warriors of Israel.
Ladies and gentlemen,
now I want to get something else here.
All of them champions of Red.
Okay, this right here is from a movie called
Hello, Abner.
Nightwing.
You did right to take the Torah. You have to open your mind. Ewa is let out. You're in the painting.
You killed our own people.
Yewa will keep the good bad guy out of the underground. The rest will have to die.
Where are the bats? Tell me, Uncle, where are they?
The flying animals are Yewa messengers.
Now you keep
I can't let you kill everyone.
He keeps saying Yewa.
Right
basically, he's trying to say Yahweh, but they're not saying it the right way. But they're very close. So that proves he sort of made all this stuff up, man. He's the one that makes movies in Hollywood. So he knows that the Gadites are the Hebrew Israelites, because in that movie in that scene you just saw, he kept saying Yewa, which is Yahweh. All right. Now we had went through this book called History of the American Indian, by James Adair. And you can actually buy this book, I believe, from Amazon.com. And then this book here, it goes into the fact that they spoke Hebrew, all right? Yeah. Yeah, because we read last show, we read page 14 of this book, and it tells you that they had to be the Israelites according to James Adair's observation of them, all right? Now, I just want to go to some of the Hebrew words. Go to the... So this truth, hold up, brother. So this truth is coming out. Okay, I want to go to languages and dialects, which is on page 40, all right? So this crap that I showed you earlier about the one of the tribes are from Norway, the other tribe is from tribe of Gad is from Holland, and all that BS, that's a bunch of crap. Okay, this is page 40. It says the Indian language and dialects appear to have the very idiom and genius of the Hebrew. Their words and sentences are expressive, concise, fatical, sonorous, and bold, and often both in letters and signification, synonymous with the Hebrew language. All right. Now I want to go to some of these words real quick because we ran out of time, because we got to get down to the camp. All right, this is on page 42, and right here it says, and they are likewise, adverbs of place, as here, there, signifies he or she. Then it says here, but that's not what I want. Okay, they said Abba Yaka. It should be Abba Ka, which is your father. Abba is father, and the Ka at the end makes it your, all right? And Amaka, your mother. Ama is for mother. Right here on page 44, the Hebrew nouns are either derived from verbs or both of them are one and the same, as Barak. Now the word Barak means blessing. Here it is again, Barak. Then as you read down, it says Dabar. Now the word Dabar means to speak. Okay, right over here, you got, this is on page 47. Okay, commonly, Huma, red. The word here is ash, fire. Now the Hebrew word for fire is ash. So the Gadites called fire ash. Okay, right here, this is what it says over here. It says this is on page 50. The notes together compose their sacred, mysterious name. All right, Ye O Hiwa. Like on the clip that you just saw, he called him Yehwah. He called the name of the Lord Yehwah, which is close to the actual true name of the Most High. Now it says that this seems to be the true Hebrew pronunciation, seems to be the true Hebrew pronunciation of the divine essential name. And it says in the Hebrew, Yah-ha-wah-ha, which is Yahweh. Then it's got written Jehovah. If you understand the Hebrew, there's no J in the Hebrew, and there's no V sound in the Hebrew. So you take away the J, it'll be Yahweh or Yahweh. All right? It says here, Yah, to enable them humbly to supplicate, seems to point to the Hebrew custom of pronouncing Yah, which is short for Yahweh. Like hallelujah is hallelujah, which is short for hallelujah means praise ye Yah. But really you're supposed to say hallelujah Yahweh. Not hallelujah or hallelujah. It's hallelujah Yahweh. All right? And I guess that's pretty much right. They say it again. They say ash, fire. They say Yah for the name of the Lord. Right here they say the word Al, a name of God, and Allah, signifying the covenant of the Holy One to redeem man, and Allah Wah, and that's also the name of the Most High, or the name of God. Yeah, it says its roots are Yah. Oh, right here, this is what I wanted. Now Gad knew when they came over here that this was the land of Canaan. That the Syrophoenicians or the Canaanites, which are known as the Olmec, when they were coming back over here for King Solomon and his navy, they left statues of themselves. Well, they knew to come over here, pursuant to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, and what is it? In the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra's, the 13th chapter. All right. Now it says right here, there was about 13 years ago a remnant of a nation or subdivided tribe of Indians called Kanai, which resembled the Hebrew proper name Canaan, Canaan, or Kanana. Now that's the land of Canaan. When you go back to Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, it speaks about how the Israelites were going to take the land of Canaan, the Canaanites, the Jebusites, because that land that they got, which is Palestine today, the Middle East, our homeland, that was known as the land of Canaan because the Canaanites were there before us. And the reason why we were able to take them down and push them out of their land, because that goes back to the curse